He sat alone at the edge of the plaza, hunched over, wrapped in layers of old clothes that had long lost their color. His beard was overgrown, his shoes falling apart, and his silence was heavy, thick enough to make strangers uncomfortable. People walked past him every day. Some pitied him. Most ignored him. A few laughed. But no one listened. No one ever asked why he chose silence. One rainy afternoon, under the dull glow of a street lamp, a group of young professionals gathered near the coffee cart beside the plaza. Their voices carried with careless energy, sipping overpriced lattes and trading stories like status symbols. One of them, clearly the loudest, glanced at the silent man and smirked. You'd think someone who stinks up the sidewalk would at least try to speak. Say something. Anything. Laughter followed. One woman threw a crumpled dollar toward him, mockingly. Here you go, wise man. Got any fortunes to tell us? The man didn't flinch. He simply looked up. Just for a second. And something shifted in the air. Like a hush no one could explain. His eyes didn't show anger or pain, but something else. A weight. A knowing. He went back to being still. But not before one of them noticed. A few days later, the loudest among them, the one who laughed first, returned alone. Something about the man had unsettled him. A gut feeling. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe curiosity. He sat on the same bench and watched. The silent man didn't look up. But this time, he handed over something. A small folded napkin. There were numbers written on it. An address.
A time.
And a single word. Listen. That night, curiosity turned to obsession. He drove to the address, half expecting it to be a prank. But when he arrived, there was only a locked gate and an old building with no lights. A security guard approached and asked for his name. When he gave it, the guard stepped aside and said, "He's been expecting you." Inside, he found himself in a long hallway lined with paintings, abstracts, landscapes. Some looked like masterpieces. He couldn't tell if they were real or not. At the end of the hall, there was a room filled with books and dim light. A woman stood behind a desk, her voice calm. "He asked you to listen. You laughed instead. Now you're here. That means something." The man stammered. "Who is he?" She smiled. "The one you called homeless built this place." He laughed, nervous. "That guy? You're kidding." But she handed him a document. It was real estate paperwork. Legal names. Bank transfers. Holdings in 6 different countries. A trust with over $20 million. Properties hidden in shell companies. A network so well designed it looked like it belonged to a corporation. All tied to one name. The Silent Man. He stumbled out of the building dizzy. Nothing made sense. Back at the plaza, he returned the next morning. The man was gone. Now others were curious. Whispers started. Videos surfaced. TikToks. The homeless millionaire. The plaza ghost. YouTube vlogs went viral. He gave me a note. I became a CEO. The story spread. But no one had proof. Only rumors. The bench became a landmark. One woman claimed he saved her life by saying nothing at all. Another said she followed his silence for months and ended up healing a broken family. But the stories weren't consistent. And the man never returned. Yet his influence grew. The weight of his silence became a kind of truth people craved. Months passed. The original group that mocked him drifted apart, but one by one, each received something unexpected. A package.
A key.
A map. None of them were the same. But each had a note with a single word. Listen. One of them followed the trail to an old cabin in the mountains. Inside was a journal. Pages filled with reflections, dates, newspaper clippings of disappearances, fraud, bankruptcies. All tied to corporate greed and names long forgotten. But the last page hinted at a final revelation. The world doesn't break the loud ones. It forgets the silent ones, until silence becomes the loudest truth left. And just like that, he was everywhere again, but only in echoes. The story never gave all the answers. Was he a former executive who vanished after a scandal? A silent whistleblower who rebuilt in the shadows? A billionaire who chose poverty to understand humanity? No one knew for sure.
But people listen now.
They looked twice at the quiet ones. They leaned into silence with respect. And some even sat on the same bench, waiting, hoping. Because the man who said nothing had changed everything. In a world full of noise, he proved that truth sometimes arrives without a voice, and that the weight of silence, when held long enough, can shake the ground louder than any shout. And somewhere in a crowded plaza, in a city that never sleeps, a new figure appears, silent, unnoticed, until someone dares to listen. Keywords: motivational story, true life mystery, emotional story, suspenseful narrative, powerful silence, real life inspired, YouTube drama, unexpected twist, homeless millionaire, secret past, viral story, change your perspective, story that will change your life. Listen carefully, mysterious stranger, emotional journey. Let me know if you'd like the sequel or an audio script adaptation next.